5, 4.
We are live from the John Boy Media Studios. Dan Canobio, Chris Algieri. Moments after Canelo Alvarez ekes out a decision on the scorecards, but it was not a close fight. He maybe ends the career of Gennady Golovkin, picks up a win, a dominant win, a exclamation point maybe because he didn't get the knockout. That didn't make sense, but I'm tired. It's late. Chris, how are you? We just did a 4-hour live stream. We did an hour and a half podcast yesterday. It's now 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. First, let me say hi to Ronnie, the man.
The man, the myth.
The legend. Ronnie, how are you?
The future legend.
I'm very tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we all are.
Long stream.
Long stream.
Fun
Fun
stream.
stream. That was a lot of fun.
Long stream. That was my nickname when I was a kid. Long stream.
Yeah, you're just one of those.
Yeah.
Just letting it fly.
Stream. Yep.
Initial thoughts, underwhelming.
Underwhelming.
Give me one word for that fight.
Expected. Honestly.
Sad.
Sad.
Canelo does the damn thing. Didn't look like exceptional himself.
No.
Didn't really get out of first gear. As for Golovkin, never really got into first gear. 4 of 14 power shots in this fight, averaged by Gennady Golovkin. And for perspective, what he did in the first 2 fights, he was 10 of 28. Yeah, so pretty much cut in half his production in terms of power shots.
This fight didn't look anything like the first 2 in any way, shape, or form. Triple G just, and I don't think he was just rolling over and just collecting a check. I don't think he could pull the trigger at this age with a guy as quick as Canelo. Canelo did start not fast in terms of throwing, but he was very explosive. He was very quick, especially early on. He faded a little bit later on, but yeah, like you said, I wasn't very impressed with Canelo either.
Yeah, I thought it was a little underwhelming from Canelo. Afterwards, he tells Chris Mannix that he hurt his left hand, maybe broke his left hand, couldn't hold a glass, he said, or leading up to that could play a role in him not being able to take out
capitalize, yeah,
Golovkin, because Golovkin was ripe for the taking, especially late on in that fight. He could have taken him out.
He looked like he could have unloaded at any point and got him out. But listen, you got a hurt hand. I've had hurt hands in fights. He said, I need to get surgery. You know, go out there and break that goddamn thing off of that guy's head. Why not?
At that point, right?
Go for it. But listen, I understand. You know, he is a multi-million dollar, $100 million athlete. But I don't know. I still got that fighter mentality in me that I'm gonna go for it.
It was kind of cool watching alongside. We've done a lot of interviews, obviously some podcasts now. Never sat with you in that setting to sit and watch a fight, seeing things that we've never seen before, talking about what it's like to get hit to the body. I never knew that you would train to target parts of the liver. That was pretty freaking awesome. So that was pretty cool in the live stream. Being able to watch that full card. There's not really much to break down for that fight. I mean, that fight didn't have one signature moment. It didn't have any ebb and flow. It was a 40-year-old guy that couldn't get into first gear, couldn't let his hands go, versus a guy with a hurt hand who was a little underwhelming. So there really isn't much to break down in terms of the X's and O's for those 12 rounds that we just watched.
The only good thing about it is that I was right in my prediction.
That's right.
It was a UD for Canelo, and on paper, in terms of the scorecards, it was competitive because 115, 113. I didn't score it that way at all, anywhere near that.
I don't want to talk about bad judging. Two judges had it 115, 113. I'm still trying to figure out who. What did Weisfeld have it? You probably get the scorecards on there, but that was not a 7-5 fight, right, Ronnie?
No.
7-5?
No, it's way too close.
I predicted an 8-4, and it wasn't even that.
7-5 is a joke, and Ronnie, you're our casual boxing fan here and the super producer. Like, you were asking a lot of good questions in the chat and understanding the fight. One thing about boxing, you're always going to be disappointed with the scoring.
Really?
Even when fights like that, like 115, 113, that was a 117, 111 fight.
So what did they see?
I would love to. That's the thing with the judges is they don't speak after the fight. They just disappear.
Dude,
zero accountability.
It's funny. In the first 2 fights, Triple G did not get credit for a lot of the good work he was doing. This fight was the opposite. He did not do much good work at all, but apparently was credited with multiple rounds.
Just ass backwards. Everything about that. It was. I will say this about Canelo. He did jab a lot. It was weird because that's Canelo's calling card, and that's Golovkin's calling card, and that's how Golovkin was made the fight so competitive. The first 24 rounds was the jab and power shots when he needed them. It was Canelo controlling the first half of the fight with power shots, and then it was Golovkin kind of coming on down the stretch late in that fight. But Canelo held an 85-46 edge, and power punches landed. That says it all right there. Landing the harder punches all fight. Canelo landed 39% of his power. Like I said, Golovkin just 4 of 14 power shots every round.
4 of 14.
That's what he averaged. After 10 of 28 in the first 2 fights. So there it is. How it was 115, 113, I don't even want to sit here and try to figure out how the judges get to that.
Mind-boggling.
I feel like it would be electric if we had interviews of the judges afterwards.
I'll give you this. This guy Rob Tebbett, who he's been on the show before.
Oh, our guy.
Yeah, he was in Saudi Arabia after Usyk Joshua, and he confronted Glenn Feldman, one of the judges, who had it 115, 113 for Joshua. And he put the camera in his face, and he said, hey, Glenn, that wasn't disrespectful. Hey, Glenn, how'd you come up with that? I would like to know your thought process on how you came up with that scorecard. And he goes, you know what? I can't speak. I can't. And he had like a guy with him, like a representative. And he said some company line like, well, boxing is subjective and it's whatever you think in that moment. And I stand by his card and that's what it is. So that's
like a lawyer?
Yeah, pretty much. And the guy was just standing there like he can't even explain how you come up with Joshua beating Usyk. Clearly didn't happen.
Yeah, there's no accountability for these judges, and it's ridiculous. And it's something that's been an issue in the sport since the dawn of time.
For way too long.
I don't think it ever changes, but that's one of my dreams that I'll see before I die, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully just speak. I mean, I think if these guys had to answer questions, it would change a lot of their change a lot of their scorecards if they had to at least be accountable. Is that asking for too much?
Yeah.
Asking for too much. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the judges.
It was a fight.
It was a fight. I mean, the undercard was good. Bam Rodriguez, fight of the night, going toe-to-toe with Israel Gonzalez, took a lot more punishment than we thought he would. Even when Bam Rodriguez's performances are meh, he's still damn good.
And it was the fight of the night. It was awesome. Like nonstop action back and forth. Gonzalez gave as good as he got for a lot of that fight. But Bam was just better. He's just better, just more consistent, and was able to put more hurt on Gonzalez.
Well, I guess we can kind of maybe pump the brakes on Bam fighting in December. Took a lot of punishment in that fight. Would you advise him not to fight in December?
He's had a rough year. He went 12 with Quadras. He stopped Rungvisai somewhat late in the fight, and then just went 12 again with a guy who threw a lot of punches, and he got hit a lot. So, one, maybe his performance had something to do with those prior 2 fights and how big of a year he's had, and maybe he needs some time off. Or 2, he just needs some time off. I mean, I think it's just too many hard fights in a row.
Not to go back to the judges. It was Steve Weisfeld had it 115, 113. I'm shocked by that. He's usually on the money.
Hey, we weren't in the room. Maybe things.
I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what I just. I'm sorry. That's late. I don't know what I just.
Don't
said.
justify those scorecards.
I'm not.
But back to Bam. It's not like he's gonna fight Chocolatito or Estrada next because they're fighting in December. Right. Maybe he's talking about going down to 112 to fight Sonny Edwards. I think he should wait. 3 fights, great campaign this year, really ahead of schedule. Picked up 3 big wins this year. Fight of the night on a Canelo card, awesome. Ammo Williams picked up a hard-fought win in the first fight.
Needed a fight like that.
Knocked down Conway in like the 9th round, 10-round fight. Got the win. That's important. Akhmedov went the distance with Gabe Rosado. That was the undercard. Let's go back to the main event and talk about what's next. It's like probably one of the best parts of this gig is trying to figure out what's next for these guys. We'll start with Golovkin.
Goes back down to 160 where he's world champ.
He is a world champion. That is one thing we forgot about this.
He's still a world champion at 160.
160 is a mess, and Golovkin is one of the champions at 160. He can go down there, but I don't think he wants to fight Charlo. I don't think he wants to fight Andrade. I don't think Andrade's at 168 now. Definitely doesn't want to fight Janibek. That's his countryman.
Oh, Janibek's rough.
And Janibek, I mean, 40 years old, didn't show much tonight. He either, we'll know soon because he's either going to vacate at 160 or he's going to go back down to 160 and fight, one of the champs there.
I wonder if he can make 160 come to. I mean, I called the Murata fight, and we had him in for fighter meetings, and he looked very drawn in the meetings and was not a happy camper. So I'd be curious to see if he can, at 40 years old, get back down to 160 when he just fought at 67.5 he weighed yesterday. So that's a big question mark.
But maybe he stays at 168, tries to find like the biggest money fight.
What's bigger than the money fight he just had? He's never
He
going to
doesn't
make
need
as much
the money, right?
No, he's never going to make the same kind of money that he made tonight. That performance is not going to garner him another big opportunity like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could be time to wrap it up. He didn't seem like he was alluding to that at all in the post-fight.
No, he said he was adamant he will not retire.
Yeah. Interesting.
Chris Eubank just called him out.
He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy running around London eating food and saying that saying he's not going to fight Ben. But there are some fights out there for him. I think Charlo at 160 would wax him. I think any of the other guys at 160 champs there.
He's just not active enough anymore.
Yeah, he just couldn't.
Young guys are going to run him over.
Yeah, Golovkin just couldn't pull the trigger tonight, and I don't think that would change in a future fight. He might get really beat up. Like he is, I wouldn't say lucky. He's fortunate that Canelo was
unable to pick it up, maybe
right,
because of the hand, or just chose not to really step on the gas. You're right. No, he could have taken a beating tonight. He just was not seeing the punches very well. He's getting hit a lot cleaner than we're used to seeing him, and he just wasn't able to pull the trigger.
So this is the end for Golovkin. Storied career, one of the best middleweights of all time, all sorts of records, defenses, knockouts, taking the country by storm under HBO banner. What is Golovkin's legacy?
Canelo. Losing to Canelo, unfortunately.
I mean, there was a love fest after the fight. I
You
figured they would shake hands
for 36 rounds. I mean, you guys know each other really well.
I figured they would shake hands. I figured there would be some type of, hey, let's bury the hatchet. They were just all over each other. But I understand, like you said, these two are going to be defined by each other.
Yep.
It's
Final
just
chapter.
It's just like any other rivalry throughout boxing. And like you have your one counterpart that was your rival, and for these two, it's them too. And now in the history books, it's going to reflect 2 wins for Canelo and 1 draw.
Canelo needed Triple G for his own legacy. He's one of those guys who's been fighting for a long time. He's been in so many weight classes. He hasn't had any of these matches, rematches, trilogies. He needs these greats need these. Canelo's a great. He's going to go down as an all-time great. But he needs these kinds of matchups, these kinds of fights. Unfortunately, he's only had the one.
It's crazy. And how's it going to look for Canelo? It's like majority of people thought he lost the first fight.
I did.
Second fight, arguably draw, maybe Canelo. And now he beats very clearly old and just didn't have it, Golovkin. So, yes, he got the final decisive win, but it was against an old Golovkin.
Yeah.
But you look back, but in the record books, they're going to reflect, like I said, two wins.
Right. When you go objectively and you look at it and you look at the records, it's 2-0-1 for
We got
Canelo.
a lot in the chat right now. Look at this. Bet money on Canelo by decision. Retiring makes the most sense. He has made money and he doesn't need to prove anything else. I would honestly hope that he retires, and it's really hard thing to retire. I'm talking to a fighter right now that you don't know if you want to fight again. It's really hard, right?
Yeah, no, it's any kind of anything you've been doing for your whole life, and then you just not going to do it anymore, whether it's time or not. It's hard.
Yeah. Jay Foreman says no excuses. I'm glad Canelo gave him this third fight, but GGG is clearly not the same fighter. I don't think it's the weight. I don't think it's the weight at all.
No, I don't think so either. They didn't look any different in terms of size.
What is next for Canelo Alvarez? Hand, maybe surgery?
Surgery and time off, for sure.
Time off. Grueling. I wouldn't say grueling, but the Bivol loss.
Camps are grueling. You always got to remember, no matter what, how a fight goes, a camp is grueling.
So he's clearly going to have, whether he gets surgery or whether he takes some time off with the hand, not going to fight anyway until May. Yeah. At the earliest. That's his new schedule now. I don't think he's on that 4-fight circuit anymore. He's back to I'm fighting in the Mayweather plan. I'm fighting September.
The May, September.
And I'm fighting September. So still has all the belts at 168. 168 has some contenders in it. You got Demetrius Andrade moving up to 168. He's fighting Zach Parker. And then there is the boogeyman. The big boy.
Jose Benavidez.
David.
David, sorry.
It is
Jose's the younger one.
David Benavidez. Does Canelo go near him?
I don't think so. But if he does, Canelo's badass. If he goes after that young man, woo! That's the stuff of greats. So, yeah, maybe it's possible. I would not be surprised.
When you're at the stature Canelo's at, he's clearly one of the biggest draws in the sport. He can't go backwards.
No.
You can't just take on like a kind of like a tune-up fight. He talked about Bivol.
He's going to because he's coming off a hand injury. He's going to have...
So next May, he's fighting who, in your opinion?
Someone that is not going to be a mega fight.
So then fight Andrade then.
I said that on air. I think I like that. I like that fight.
A lot of fans might not enjoy that, but I mean that's the type of guy that maybe would make sense. He talked about Bivol. Mannix asked him afterwards.
No.
If Bivol gets past Zurdo,
no.
Does this version tonight that you saw of Canelo, would he give Bivol issues?
No, he loses.
It's a bad matchup, right?
It's a bad matchup. The guy's too big. The size matters. Bivol's style is a nightmare for Canelo. No, stay away from Bivol. No reason.
No reason to do that fight. I hope he doesn't. Nothing to prove there. But
it also wasn't a great fight. It wasn't. It was the novelty that Canelo was losing. Yes. Other than that, it wasn't a great fight.
Very good point. You took the words right out of my mouth. But when you get to Canelo's stature, like I just said, he's got all the money in the world. Made $45 million tonight just to step in the ring. Probably will make shit ton more once the pay-per-views and all that stuff plays out. He needs a challenge.
Yeah.
So Bivol beat him. He wants to conquer that. So maybe he takes that. He's just focused on that fight because nothing at 168 really stands out to him. So if I'm going to go to the gym every day when I have millions and millions of dollars, I need to go for a reason. And if I can just have a picture of Bivol on the wall, that's what I'm going to do.
Classic Rocky movie.
Sometimes it's as simple as that, as a simple plot line of I want to beat the guy that beat me.
Yeah, and Canelo's a competitor. He's gonna have that sting from that fight, but you lose to the guy again. That's a big problem, and I don't really see a clear path to victory for Canelo in that fight.
This guy, Quesilla Diamante, was that the name in the chat all night?
Quesadilla
Diamante,
yeah, which is a play on words, quesadilla and diamond.
Perfect. Love that. And I'm a gringo. I really want Andrade versus Canelo.
Yeah.
Warm-up fights before the next blockbuster ones. It's relevant and competitive.
Well said. I agree.
Well, I don't know what...
And it's my boy. I want my boy to get paid.
I don't know what Canelo's deal is with Matchroom. I think he has maybe one more fight left with him. Golovkin's done with Matchroom. He can go anywhere. So Golovkin can go to PBC. He could retire. He can go to Kazakhstan. Canelo is on a fight-to-fight basis with any promoter. I don't know what the deal was with his last one. But Andrade is also, I think, a free agent. He's no longer with Matchroom, so he can go anywhere. That's interesting to see where Canelo goes next.
Yeah, that's the big question mark, I think. But we got time for that because of the hand injury, apparently.
Yeah, so that is that with this fight. Ronnie, let's bring Ronnie in. Was asking great questions tonight. We're going to keep doing these segments on the show where we get Ronnie, the casual boxing fan, with the casual boxing questions. So hit us with some.
You kind of put me in the spot. I wasn't expecting it.
Well, how about just thoughts on the fight? Your first that you watched. That's probably the most boxing you've ever watched in your life.
Yes, it definitely was.
4 fights.
4 fights, and it was a blast. Honestly, streaming is fun, man.
Streaming is fun.
That was a real fun stream, and thanks to everyone that showed up, and we see a lot of people in these chats right now. But a lot of fighting. It was. I learned a lot with you, Chris, and Mr. Dan.
The one thing you learned that you're like, wow, that was cool.
The liver story.
Yeah.
Is just
that was a big one.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
If you missed it, I posted it on Twitter. Basically, liver shot, like what it feels like to get hit with a liver shot, and also how fighters train for that.
And I hope you never get hit with liver.
Or if you do get in a fight, aim for the lower portion of someone's.
Yeah, good luck.
Right above their ass,
right rib cage. Yeah,
good luck getting that.
This guy Jay Foreman. I want to see Canelo fight Benavidez or Charlo at 168. I could see that. Charlo at 168 for Canelo is a winnable fight.
Yep. I think he does win that fight, Canelo.
Charlo, yeah. I agree with that. Charlo is so
Benavidez,
inactive.
I don't know. It's crazy. That's a hot take for me to say. Like I don't know. Like I think Canelo's great, but I think Benavidez is a real problem.
Benavidez is a stud. He throws 75 punches around.
Crazy.
Got every punch in the book. Huge.
Huge. He's
and
gigantic.
Has
And he's-
better defense than people give him credit
Yes.
for.
And he stops everyone. Like a combination puncher, but with power.
I don't see Canelo going anywhere near Benavidez. Doesn't have to. Charlo, maybe. But I don't know, man. With hand injury now, coming off the loss to Bivol, 32 years old. We talked about 52% of his life as a pro. 61 fights, add another 12 rounds on. He's up to 460 rounds in his life. Like, I asked you this, are we seeing a sign of slippage? I honestly think we're seeing a little bit of a chipping away.
And maybe not even so much technically, but just maybe the heart and the mind. You know, the digging deep may not be there like it was.
When you get 40 mil.
That fire.
That's what I mean. It's
You
like
get 40 mil.
40 mil for every fight. You have so much money. You've already cleared out 168. You got all the adulation. You won a title at 175.
You're already a legend.
Clearly not doing it for the money anymore.
Right, and you won the title at 175 by beating Kovalev. So the record books will show you were a 5-division world champion.
Yeah, but he's greedy. He went back to 75, which I don't understand why he ever went back to 75. You did it. One fight. You knocked out Kovalev, who was is a great, or actually a very good world champion for a long time, and then you move back down. Why the hell would you go back?
I think it was because he can't get up for regular fights. He needs challenges. He's got all the money. He's got all the praise. He's accomplished so much already. He's 32. So honestly, it's not that crazy to think about if we're starting to see, I wouldn't say decline because that's way too harsh, like a chipping away, or maybe start thinking about
A lot of miles.
life boxing without Canelo being super elite. I mean, we're all human. He fought so many fights between 2000
Crazy.
and now.
He's only 32.
32.
It's nuts.
And we're talking about him potentially, like, but we've seen this.
Got a lot of miles on him.
You know, how many times did people count out like Chocolatito? Like,
Yeah.
And that was a guy who suffered a brutal KO loss to Saul Rungvisai. And we're like, there's no way this guy's done.
Yeah.
And then he took some time off. He worked his way back, and now he's still fighting. But I don't know. It's still too early to say what's next for Canelo. But I do agree that tonight, like, it left a lot of more questions than answers for him.
I have
Safe
a question.
to say that.
Will this
Ronnie?
fight be forgotten?
We'll end with the historical aspect of this trilogy. Trilogy's over. We talked about this on the podcast on Friday when we were going to rank our top 5 trilogies. Will this one slide in? It depended on how
You both said yes.
Yeah, but I don't know now. I honestly, the first 24 were so special. This is like, we've seen this so much in the history of boxing where the first 2 were great and the last one was horrible. Leonard Duran comes to mind. This one was very forgettable.
I'm gonna have to watch this again.
Fair.
We're so close to it, and I've always noticed that when I watch fights live and when I watch them back, they're always like, I get a different feeling. So I'd have to watch it back before. But if it stays what I have in fresh in my mind, what I just watched, this fight's not going to be in any top trilogy list.
No, it's unfortunate. I was hoping for a thriller. I was hoping for a Pacquiao Marquez moment, where the third, or the Fury Wilder moment with the third fight was like, oh my God, they're going at it.
I think we were all willing that. We were all willing that to
Yes.
be. And I think part of the problem is the age difference. It's not that they were aged. I think if Canelo was older and Triple G was older, we would have got a better fight.
Less defense.
Yeah, so I think that's the problem. It's the fact that Triple G's 40, but Canelo's 32. So, 40's old, 32's not.
But it's an old 32.
It's an old 32, sure.
Yeah, because of all the rounds and all that.
But yeah, no. I don't foresee this being an all-time great trilogy.
And I said this a while back. It's like, if this fight was the crown jewel of the boxing schedule, then I'd be a little even more depressed right now.
Now, we've got some cool fights.
I'd be like, oh, God, man, that's it? That's all we got to look forward to? Like, past years, this would have been the big one. But Spence Crawford is happening, believe me. November 19th. Fury Joshua. Chocolatito Estrada. Bivol versus Gilberto Ramirez.
Good fight.
Shakur Stevenson's in action next weekend.
You got the ladies, too.
The lady, oh my God, yeah. Shields Marshall, Bumgarner, Mayer. We got Conor Benn versus Eubank. We got Wilder versus Helenius.
I'm actually
so many big
I'm
fights.
looking forward to that fight, Helenius and Wilder. Don't write off Helenius. He's a tough Viking. He's
the Nordic nightmare.
He's a legit Viking. He's a tough dude. He's big. He's strong.
I feel like any type of excitement is going to be tenfold after watching that last 12 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
So
It's already forgotten for me.
So Wilder, yeah, exactly. It's gone.
Review, yeah.
It's over. But yeah, that's it. That's the show. Long night, but it was awesome. Everyone in the stream for the live chat, the live stream for the fight was
They were
great.
really good.
Everyone watching with us right now, I appreciate that. A lot of comments in here, and this is something we're gonna keep doing. This is just the beginning of the new era of Inside Boxing Live. This three-headed monster, Chris Algieri, Dan Canelo, Ronnie Jerez. I mean, come on, this is Team JM Hot Boys.
JM Hot Boys.
It is
I'm
one
the newest member of
Yes.
JM Hot Boys.
Right, I gave you a chain before. You're
Just
the
got in
newest
today.
member. Yeah, so we're going to keep doing live streams of fights. We're going to keep going live on YouTube just to do this show. Our next one will be out on Thursday when we preview Shakur Stevenson. Let me give you our next list where we figure out some more, I guess, fallout from Canelo and Triple G. Take a look forward to Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce
Okay.
next Saturday.
Oh, really?
Heavyweight battle.
Oh, I got to get up on my schedule.
Shakur Stevenson, Conceição's Friday night.
Right.
Nice Friday night ESPN fight.
Nice.
Throwback.
Like the old days.
Like you
yes.
at the Paramount.
Yep.
Step it in.
Friday night.
Friday night lights
I like it.
over on ESPN for a homecoming for Stevenson. I love talking about Shakur Stevenson, so we'll have fun breaking that down. We'll obviously make our picks and talk about two top 10-ish heavyweights, Parker and Joyce. This guy said Algieri looking like George Michael Faith right now. Shades of David Duchovny.
Huh.
Californication, David Duchovny. You watch that show?
Yeah.
That show's sick.
Yes, good show. Also, the movie California with Brad Pitt and
Sick.
good movie, really good movie.
It's a good glasses, man.
I just found them right here.
Shady Rays.
Shady Rays all over.
Shady Rays.
Ronnie, do you have anything left to offer us here?
Let's go to sleep.
Amen.
On that note, we will
Amen.
see you all Thursday for the next edition of Inside Boxing Live. For Chris Algieri, for Ronnie Jerez, I'm Dan Canobio. Good night.